Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Hello friends, I am Dr. Himanshu Patel, working as an assistant professor in School of Computer Science at Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. I welcome you on the module Introduction to Dart Language in the course Cross-Platform Application Development using Flutter. Now, let us try to understand object-oriented programming concepts in Dart. So, Dart is an object-oriented programming language that supports classes, inheritance and polymorphism. Let us try to understand how to define class in Dart. On screen you can see here we define class using class keyword and then we have to write down name of class, that is person in this case, and inside curly bracket we have to specify the body of class. Now, any class consists of two things, data and functionality. So, like main function, you can also declare member of class variable using data type, that you can see on the screen. So, here person class consists of two data members, which is name of type string and age of type integer. You can also write constructor like these. Like any other programming language, constructor is having same name as a class. So, here person specifies constructor and whatever value passed to the constructor in order is stored inside name and age. So, these dot name represent name and these dot age represent age. So, whatever value provided while calling this constructor is stored in name and age, and it may also contain methods or functions. So, here we have one method called greet and its body. Now, we know how to define functions. So, you can easily understand that it prints hello, my name is so and so and I am this much age years old. So, we will also execute all these codes in a real time environment, so that you can see the actual output. Now, how to create object of these class inside main? So, here we have to declare two variable name and age to call these class constructor, and person is a data type which is user defined data type in our case, which is class name. P is a object and after that we write down is equal to, and person will call constructor and name and age is supplied as an argument to constructor, which is assigned to name and age inside class, and then we call that greet method using our object which is P. So, P dot greet will call this greet function. So, it will print my name is Himanshu and I am 47 years old. So, you can understand how to define class, how to declare data members, how to declare constructor, how to define methods, how to create object and how to call function which is defined inside class. So, I hope you have clear idea about defining and using class and its object. Let us try to understand inheritance. Like functions, inheritance are used to allow you to reuse the code. So, to reuse the existing code, Dart supports class inheritance. Let us take example. So, we have already discussed this class person, we know how it works. Now, let us try to extend this class. Now, for example, any student is a person. So, we can say every person, every student has a characteristics of person like name and age. The only new thing is its school or college or roll number. So, whatever extra attributes student may have, you can define inside this class student, and you can inherit all the existing attributes of any existing class by inheriting that class. So, here we declare class student, then we write down keyword extends which specifies inheritance, and then we write down existing class name which is person. So, we can say class student inherits our class person. So, whatever we define inside student is also having attributes or data members and functions of person class. Like you inherits all the properties of your father as a child, these student class is also called child class or subclass or extended class of base class, parent class or superclass. Here we declare string school. What does it mean? Now, student has a name, age and school. We need not to declare name and age. Why? Because we have already extended that class. So, all that characteristic of person class is inherited by the student. So, here we declare constructor like base class. So, here we need to supply three values: name, age and school. So, we refer name and age of superclass. So, we write down without using these keyword, but school is of data member of these class. We write down these dot school, and we must call constructor of base class in order to initialize this constructor. So, base class constructor can be called using super keyword. So, here we write down super, name, age. So, these three values received by student will be, out of these three values, two values name and age are automatically passed to student class and its value is initialized. And here we can again redefine greet. So, we write down @override. Suppose this name is different from greet, then you need not to write down @override annotation, but here we write down @override. What does it mean? Whenever object of student class is created, it must call these greet function rather than its parent or base or superclass functions. So, here inside greet we have modified our greetings to display hello, my name is this and I am studying in this school. So, we use one attribute of base class and another attribute of its own. Let us go to main. So, inside main we declare three variables to specify name, age and school, and we initialize its value appropriately, and then we create object of type student which is a student S, and then we call its constructor using its name which is student, and then we pass these three value name, age and school to the student class constructor. So, it will jump to the student class constructor. Out of these name and age is passed to again back to the person class, and its value is initialized to whatever value we have supplied, and then finally we call greet function. So, when we call greet function of student object, it will actually call greet function of student class. So, our output will be, hello, I am Meet studying at PDPU. So, this is our output. So, inheritance is very similar to other programming language like Java and C#. So, I hope you understand how to define base class or parent class and how to create subclass and child class using inheritance, and for that we have to use extend keyword that you can see on the screen, and how can we create new attributes in inherited class, and how can we override method defined in base class, that all we have discussed in this demonstration. Now, sometimes we need to call asynchronous task. Now, what is asynchronous programming? So, Flutter apps often perform tasks that take time to complete, like fetching data from server. So, Dart handles asynchronous programming using asynchronous and await. Now, let us try to understand using code. So, future represents value that may be available in future. You can handle it with then for using asynchronous and await. Now, let us try to understand these code. So, first we write down future and then we specify return data type greater than and less than sign, which is string, and fetch data is the name of functions which is of type asynchronous. So, it is very similar to defining ordinary functions, but here there are two keywords, future and asynchronous, and future represents future value that may be available in future. You can handle it with then using asynchronous and await, and asynchronous says that these task runs in a backgrounds. So, this is how we can define asynchronous function, and inside that we write down await future dot delayed, and inside that write down duration second colon 2. Now, what does it mean? So, these program demonstrate asynchronous program in Dart using asynchronous and await. So, fetch data function simulates network delay using future dot delay method. So, future dot delay is a method which pause execution for 2 seconds, and after that it returns static value data fetched. So, when I call these functions inside main, so we have to write down asynchronous after main, then and then it can handle asynchronous task, and inside curly bracket you can see first I write down print fetching. Immediately after that we call these functions called await fetch data. So, what does it mean? When these fetch data is executed, that fetch data function is called and it pause for 2 seconds. Here this pause represent any processing delay which may happen by the code written inside fetch data. So, after pause of 2 seconds, that execution finished and it returns data fetched. So, when I print data, it actually displays data fetched. So, when I execute this task, in first line it displays fetching, then after delay of 2 seconds, it completes executing fetch data and returns data fetched, which is displayed by print method. So, I hope you might understand the asynchronous keyword, await keywords, return keywords, and how to define asynchronous task and how to execute that task inside main. So this is the output, but second line will be displayed after delay of 2 seconds. Now, why we learn Dart? Because whenever we write down code for Flutter apps, we are essentially writing Dart code. Key Flutter concepts like widget, state and layouts are built in on Dart's object oriented model. Understanding Darts make you proficient in Flutter. When you write Flutter apps, it means you are using all these code written in Dart. So, understanding Darts make you proficient in Flutter. So, what is widget? Flutter provides two kind of widgets, stateless widget and stateful widget. So, all these classes are written in Dart. Understanding Dart classes and inheritance will help you build custom widgets. Then there is a asynchronous programming. Flutter often use asynchronous functions, especially for tasks like fetching data from APIs or interacting with databases. So these are the tasks which maybe takes long time. So that kind of task can be implemented using asynchronous programming. And third kind of things is a functional programming. Dart supports functional programming concepts, allowing Flutter app to be reactive and declarative. So, for these three reasons, we must understand Dart, and we very much proficient in Dart, then you can easily understand these widgets, how to write asynchronous programming and how to write functional programming while creating Flutter apps. So, that is why we must emphasize on Dart syntax and understand all the syntax, like starting from variable, data types, conditional statements, loops, functions, different types of parameters, object oriented concepts in Dart. All these syntax must be very clear in your mind, and you must be able to implement all these syntax in your code while you create Flutter apps. To use Dartpad to write Dart programming language code, you can write down Dartpad in Google. So it will show you its URL in search. So we are clicking on Dartpad. So it will open this interface. Here you can write down your code. Using run button you can run your code, and here you can see the output. So this is how Dartpad work. You need not to install anything else. Now let us execute code that we have already discussed. So let us begin with main function. So you can write down main function like this, and then using print method you can display something on console. So here I am write down hello world, and every statement should be end with semicolon, and when I click this run button you can see the output. Here it shows hello world. So this is how we can write down code. So I hope you understand the use of main function and print. Now let us understand variable and data. So here I am declaring one variable, integer age is equal to 20 and string name is. Here you can see every statement should be end with semicolon. Here age is a variable of type integer and name is a string data type and its value is Himanshu. So now I can print this value like this. My name is, and then you have to use dollar and variable name which is name, and age is then value. To print value we can use $age. Now if I run this program, displays hello world, and in next line it displays my name is Himanshu, because $name represent value of variable name which is Himanshu here, and age is value 20. So it displays my name is Himanshu and age is 20. You can declare these as a constant also. using final, so it doesn't make any difference, but you cannot change value of age later on. You can assign its value only once, and if I declare these as a constant, I must initialize its value while declaring. So it again produce same output, but now it is a constant variable, and when I write down final, for example, final roll number, so I can declare roll number as a final, but I can assign its value later on, but only once. So if you want to print it, you can print like this. So when I run this code, it displays hello world, my name is Himanshu and age is 20 and roll number is 1. So this is a difference between constant and age. In case of constant, we must specify value while initialize, but in case of final, value is only assigns 1 but at later part also. So this is the difference between final and const. Let us try to understand if else statement. So when I click on this, it formats my code. Here we know that score is assigned value 85. So first condition is not true, second condition is true, so it prints good. So now I am running this code, so it displays good. If this value is assigned to 95, it will print excellent. Now I again run this code, so it will display excellent. And if value is below 70, like 55, it will print needs improvement. So this is how you can easily write your code in Dartpad, execute it, and suppose there are some errors like semicolon is missing here. So it will display this error. So it displays expected to find semicolon. So you can easily know where to write down. Here you can see red line indicating error. So after writing semicolon, that error will automatically remove. So here you can see the switch statement. Suppose I want to format this, I can click on format, then we can run this code. So again it print good because value is B. So this case will execute, and suppose I assign its value to C, it will not match with both the case. So it print case default. And if I assign value A, it prints case A. So it displays excellent. So this is how we can use switch. So this is a for loop and it will print 0 to 4 as we have discussed. So I am clicking on run button. It displays 0 to 4. So this is how for loop works. Now suppose I want to implement same using while loop. Then I have to declare initialization part before loop. Now this for loop becomes while. This part is not necessary, and this increment part will be inside loop. So this is how while loop can be implemented to provide same functionality. So now I am clicking on this run button. It again displays same output. Variable I initialized to 0, incremented every time, and value is printed. So initially it prints 0, then I becomes 1. This condition is false, so it prints 1, then 2, 3, 4, and when it becomes 5, that loop is terminated. So this is how while loop can be used. This is an example of functions that we have already discussed with the name as a compulsory parameter and title as a optional parameter. So when I run this code, it displays, in first case it displays name only, so it writes hello Himanshu, but when we provide 2 arguments, it displays hello Dr. Himanshu, because now it has a 2 arguments, name and title. So this value is override by this title value and it prints hello Dr. Himanshu. So this is how we can define function inside the code. This is a add and multiply function we have already discussed. Now let us try to execute this code. So you can see it displays 10 plus 20 is equal to 30 and 10 multiplied by 20 is equal to 200 using add functions and multiply function. And here you can see it has only one statement, so it is a written like these. You can short the syntax of defining functions using these operator. It is used whenever only one line is part of function body. This is an example of named parameter. So you can change the order of parameter. If you specify first name and last name, it will be passed in a first and second argument. If you provide last name first, then it will go to these, and first name will go to these value. So this is how you can use named parameter. So it displays hello Himanshu Patel in either case, whether you are providing parameters in order or unordered way. Since you are using name of parameter, it always passed correctly to the function, and required is used to specify compulsory parameter. So this is how you can use ordered parameter. This is example of class person that we have already discussed. This is a constructor, this is a greet method, and inside main we can declare variables, object, and we can call its constructor, and then we can use this greet method defined inside class. Now let us try to execute these code. So it displays hello, my name is Himanshu, because here in name we specify Himanshu, in inside age we specify 47. So it displays hello, my name is Himanshu and I am 47 years old, as we discussed. Now let us try to understand the concept of inheritance. So here we have class person, as discussed earlier. We have student class which extends this person class with one more attribute called school. This is a constructor of derived class, and this is a constructor of super class or base class. And this greet method is override to redefine this greet method. So here it displays all these three parameters. So when I run this code, it displays hello, I am Meet, because I have provided value Meet for name here, age 20, and school PDP. So when I create constructor of these object and call its greet method, these three value is passed to the student class, and these two value pass to person class, and it can use all three values in any method. So this is how we can use inheritance in Dart. Now let us try to understand asynchronous functions. So here future is a return type of type string, fetch data is asynchronous functions, and using await and future.delay, we pause the execution for 2 seconds. Here you can see 2 seconds, and after that it returns data fetch. And when writing main functions, we have to specify these asynchronous, and inside main it displays print fetching, and then inside variable data it call these functions, and when these functions return data fetch, it is stored inside data, and then it is print. So now when I run this code, it displays fetching, then it waits for 2 seconds, and after that it displays data fetch. So this is how you can implement asynchronous task inside Dart. So we have learned how to use Dartpad, which is online editor available to write Dart code. We also learn how to format your code if it is not formatted using format option, and how to correct errors like missing semicolon or incorrect syntax. All that it provides you suggestions with error, and you can also run your code and see the output on output window whenever you press run button. Now let us try to understand how to install Dart SDK on Windows platform. So let us start. So to install Dart on Windows, you have to open your PowerShell in administrative mode. So in search button type window PowerShell, run it as an administrator. So it will open console where you have to type these commands. So write down these commands. So it displays execution policy change. Then you have to type Y. Then you have to execute this command, and if you write down Choco, it will display Chocolate version installed on your computer. Using Choco, you can install Dart SDK. So here you can see if it is already installed, it will automatically override that and re-download. So here you can see it is downloading the content. Here you can see on the screen it is downloading Dart SDK, and once it is installed, you can use Dart SDK. So now you can check version of Dart installed. Once you have installed Dart SDK, then you have to install Visual Studio Code. Now let us learn how to install Visual Studio Code. For that, you can search Visual Studio Code and you can click on download, and here you can download it for Windows. When you click on Windows, it will ask you select folder where you want to download this Visual Studio Code. I have already downloaded that code here. So I am running this code to install Visual Studio Code on my computer. So here you have to follow wizard. It will be installed in this folder, but if you want to change, then you can browse and select another folder. Now click on next. It will ask you to program shortcut. So click on next. Now here you can select create desktop icon so that it will create desktop icon. You can add open with code action to Windows Explorer file context menu so that appropriate code can be directly open inside this. And if you want to open with code action as a Windows Explorer directory context menu, then you can also select these options. And then you have to press next. It will install Visual Studio Code. So it start installing Visual Studio on my computer. Now you can launch Visual Studio Code after finish. This is my home screen. You can create new text file and here you can write Dart. When you save this, it will automatically select Dart because it is a configured. So you can give any name to this file and save wherever you want to save. So I am clicking on save test file, and then you can start writing your code. So here you can create or write code, and once it is written, you can run this file. When you click on this button, run and debug, or you can press Ctrl Shift D, so it displays hello world here. You can see, suppose I want to use variable, I can again run and debug. So now it displays hello, my age is 25. So this is how you can run your code inside Visual Studio Code Editor once you have installed Dart SDK. So I hope you understand how to install Dart SDK on Windows, how to install Visual Studio Code, and how to write your code inside Visual Studio Code and run it. In this case, you can run your code offline if you have Visual Studio Code and Dart SDK installed on your computer. So this is how we can write Dart code, either using Dartpad online editor or offline using Visual Studio Code Editor and Dart SDK. I hope you understand this very useful and important concept of Dart programming. Now let us sum up. So in this module, we explored the essential of Dart, the language behind Flutter. Dart's modern syntax, easy to learn structure, and powerful features like null safety, object-oriented programming, and asynchronous handling makes it ideal language for building mobile and web apps. As you dive deeper into Flutter, a solid understanding of Dart will enable you to write clean, efficient, and scalable code. I hope you enjoy this session. Thank you and happy learning.